You are standing in front of a button. If you press it, you instantly get $1 million. But at the same time, someone in the world, a random person, will die. Would you press it? Think carefully. Because what am I about to say might make you realize you've been pressing this button every day. Most people say, no, I wouldn't press the button. And the reason is simple. Because that is killing someone. Because the causal link is perfectly clear. You press the button, someone dies. No ambiguity, no excuses, so you refuse. But that's not how the real world works. In reality, cause and effects are distributed, blurred and hidden. For example, you buy a very cheap piece of clothing. You just feel like you saved money. But behind the price, there might be someone working 14 hours a day for extremely low pay. You don't feel like you harmed them because you can't see them. Or you ordered food. Don't finish it and throw it away. You just think, a bit wasteful. But scale that across society. Resources are misused, supply chains get reinforced, and some people end up living in a worse condition long term. You don't feel like you caused someone's death, but what if this button isn't pressed once by one person, but 8 billion people every single day? At this point, the thing started to feel uncomfortable, but maybe this entire line of reasoning is wrong. Because we might be confusing two things, causation and moral responsibilities. In real world, simply by existing, you inevitably affect others. You consume resources. You participate in supply chain. Every choice you make creates ripple effect. If we treat all of that as responsibilities, the conclusion becomes absurd. Everyone is responsible for everything. So we need a boundary. Not all causal effect participation counts as moral responsibility. When you press the button, you know exactly what will happen. You make a direct choice. You are the clear cause of that outcome. But in the real world, you don't know who gets harmed. You didn't directly choose to harm a specific person. You're just part of an existing system. Some people might bring up extreme historical cases like Holocaust, but that's fundamentally different. Those people were not unaware participants. They knew. They acted. They even justified their own action. That was collective intentional wrongdoing, not unconscious participation in the system. So if we insist that any participation in causal chain creates responsibility, we end up with a moral system that cannot function, a system where a person is guilty simply for existing. And a moral system that makes everyone guilty loses its ability to judge anything. That sounds reasonable, but here's the problem. What happens if we accept that? If we say that only direct, intentional, clearly defined harm creates responsibility, then something more dangerous is happening. As long as harm is distributed, as long as responsibility is unclear, no one is held responsible. And that's exactly how modern world works. Most harm is not created by one person, but by countless reasonable choices adding together. Everyone can say, it's not just me, I don't know what's gonna happen, I'm only part of the system. So the opposing view argues this. Responsibility does not come from being the sole cause. It comes from knowingly continuing to participate. If you truly don't know, you are not responsible. But once you do know that a system may be harming others, and you continue anyways, something changes. The button does not create responsibility. It reveals it. It removes your ability to deny what you are already part of. The real world feels more forgiving, not because it is more moral, but because it allows you to not to know, or to pretend that you don't know. So the real question is not, did you directly kill someone? But, when you have the ability to know, do you choose to know? And once you know, do you choose to continue? Morality isn't about having clean hands at all. Maybe it's about having the courage to face the consequences of your action. Ignorance can keep you innocent, but once you know, you can never go back. So now, answer again. Would you press the button? I'll read every single one of your comments, and the most convincing one, I'll respond in the next video. This is Mr. Sam. Thank you for watching this. I'll see you on the next one.